Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 535 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ialon, CEO of Greek University. I am your host, and I wanted to talk a little bit about our sixth book, too, because our sixth book is called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous, Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So you can go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring fraternity and sorority leaders together. Fun fact, recruitment is one of my favorite things in the world to talk about. There's nothing better than giving the gift of sorority or fraternity to another student on your college campus. You're actually giving them a better shot of staying in college and graduating over other non-affiliated students because of the concept of belonging. And the data backs up what I'm saying. So when it comes to recruitment, don't feel like you're selling sorority or fraternity. You're actually selling opportunity. So let's talk to our next guest a little bit more about it. Coming into college as a first-generation student, Maureen Anderson knew little about the college experience, let alone sororities and recruitment. Full of lingo that is confusing, a completely foreign culture, and a distorted image due to television, movies, and social media. She went on to work at the Delta Phi Epsilon sorority headquarters as Director of Alumnae Engagement, learning the full recruitment process on both sides and seeing the differences in what is being said and what is actually happening. Welcome to the show, Maureen.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it is my pleasure to have you on the show. I'm super excited about our conversation today. Now, you decided on Winona State University for your undergraduate experience as a first generation student. So I'm wondering, why did you choose Winona State?
So I grew up in Wisconsin, very small town, like less than 1,000 people. And internet obviously was not super big yet, so we couldn't just search things. They came to my school. They set up shop and basically pitched to us. And I heard that it was out of state. They had reciprocity from Wisconsin to Minnesota, so I could have the same in-state tuition rate. And that's pretty much it. Like, I just didn't know a lot of colleges. I pretty much knew like UW-Madison, UW-La Crosse, UW-Platteville, only because they were right in my vicinity. And that's all that really came to our school. So Winona, that's shout out to them for
Wow,
across
shout
the
out to the
river.
recruiters that come to high school because here we are. You found out about a university because of a recruiter, you ended up there. So obviously the formula works. There's a
It
reason
did.
why they come and visit. That's awesome. Very cool. Now you joined Delta Phi Epsilon there. So I'm wondering what made you decide to join DPhi and make sure that that was the right choice over the other organizations on campus?
So much to other factors. So at Winona State, especially at that time, Greek life was still pretty small. Um, but it was more like a secret society. Like DPhi, like it really was. Like the women on our campus would wear gold necklaces, and only if you got in did you wear that gold necklace, and everyone knew that they were a DPhi member. Um, I particularly joined for a different reason, though. Um, Much as my intro said, I didn't really have any interest in Greek life prior to this. I thought it was for rich kids and, like special elite. I was a poor farm kid, so like I was on, work study and financial aid and everything. And what changed for me is I had an experience at a fraternity party where I was sexually assaulted. My friends, though, they were on my cheer team with me. They had joined DPhi informally in the spring, and this was close to the end of that semester. Um, this incident happened. The fraternity itself kicked that member out, but I had nobody. Like, I literally only had the people on my cheer team, and I was scared. They told the women who joined, they told their upperclassmen women, and they came to my dorm. They knocked on the door, said, "We heard what happened to you. It's horrible. We want to support you in any way possible." And they took that extra step. Um, so a lot of times we always say in Greek life, people join people. It really is for me. That's what happened. So I was ready to drop out of school. I was scared. I didn't ever want to go back to a place that would put me in that sort of situation. Um, but them reaching out was like that extra olive leaf I needed to stay. And much like you said again in the intro, it really is like solidifying you as part of like a group that you need, both in college and beyond. So the next semester, we did fall formal recruitment, and I decided to go out. We only had two national sororities on campus, D Phi E and Tri Sigma. We did have a local as well, but they were known as like the super partiers. And I only wanted D Phi E. If I couldn't be with these women, I just didn't want to be Greek. So that was what solidified it for me.
Wow, what a story. I mean, obviously, I'm very sorry to hear about the assault, but I am super happy that the women of DeFi were there to support you because, I mean, that means everything. And I totally get why it was DeFi or it was nothing. Like, this
Mhm.
was going to be it. And so I think, that story just really shows what real sisterhood is all about. And just an incredible testimonial of the power of sorority in terms of your healing, in terms of the support that you got. I think that's absolutely incredible. And obviously, it worked because you were very involved as a sister.
Yes.
You served as membership development, new member ed, alumnae coordinator, website coordinator, even Greek Council representative at Winona State. So, what's your advice for new sisters and sororities that really don't know what roles they should pursue, either within the sorority or within their council?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Honestly, the reason that I did what I did is obviously I felt like I needed this, and so I kind of put myself wholeheartedly in it. But if you are somebody who just wants to try things out, and there's depending on your organization, there might be like 10, 15, 20, 30 different roles depending on, the hierarchy of your um, leadership team. And what I'm going to say is this is like the perfect time to try things out. You want to build leadership, but you're a little bit scared. Coordinator roles are great for that. The website was something I had HTML training, so I thought that was a great fit for me at the time. There was the website, kind of just pinged me around. Um, Alumni coordinator kind of like shot me into membership in general. I got to speak to these women that I had never met, but they had these incredible stories of what they were doing. They would send letters in, pictures, and I would loved just like learning all the different stories, which kind of also went with historian. So I looked at all of our books. And, I kind of like to piece the stories together, which is something I used actually as my role as director of alumni engagement, as I basically did that for the entire sorority. We had our centennial while I was there. So I had to pull stories from literally any chapter, find people to tell their stories. We had old um, international presidents and leadership consultants who had traveled to tell their stories. So it was just really like a fun way to springboard and use that same undergraduate knowledge to kind of build upon it and use it professionally. So I think that anyone who has that passion for, even if you don't think you're qualified, this is the time to try it out. The worst thing you can do is you do it for a semester or a year, and you don't like it. So there's really nothing to lose.
Mhm.
So
You
yeah.
bring up some really good points here because I know Gen Z is always kind of unsure if they're on the right path or not in terms of their career, in terms of their major, in terms of what they want to do after college. So within the sorority, it's a great place to experiment a little bit, like you said,
Hmm.
and just try different things to see what you gravitate to, what do you enjoy doing, because ultimately that can have an impact on where you go after graduation, just like it did for you, clearly. I mean, working for DeFi and the headquarters. So I like that answer. I think that's really smart, and I think it's in line with what Gen Z wants. And you're also a sorority recruitment consultant with Sorority Success Academy. Talk to our audience. What is the Academy? How did you come up with this idea?
So I, much like my peers as alumni, like we probably watched a lot of TikTok, and you wanted to watch all the rush talk to see, who's going where, and it this is a new phenomenon, honestly, to follow PNMs through the process and um like see it from their perspective, and like you felt it as a PNM, but like to see it again in like a whole nother generation that's like always in front of a camera. It's a very unique phenomenon. And I think that there was just a lot of missing pieces. There was a disconnect from what a lot of undergraduate women were telling the PNMs of what would really happen or how to prepare for it. That like many of these women had only gone through formal recruitment. They hadn't really had a higher level panhellenic experience to really talk about recruitment and what to expect. So they keep talking about brush bags and what to wear on each day. And while that's very surface level, that's not going to get them the conversations they need to be having. That doesn't give them the timelines of how to prepare and make an application. It didn't prepare them for how to make that mutual selection. So that way you're actually at a house that you are going to be a best fit for, and not just looking up who's the most popular on your campus. There's just a lot of missing pieces. And I felt like it just perpetuated the bad ideas of what Greek life is, because once those women get into a house that they aren't a good fit for, they're unhappy, they drop, they get disconnected right away, they don't find friendships that they're really looking for. And I wanted to correct it basically and really give a PNM a concrete plan of how to first reflect like who are you and who do you want to be, and then how does that fit into sorority life. So to go forward and to look at the values of each organization, really look around the room and see, how the members are interacting with each other. Is it look fake, or do they genuinely look like they want to be there? Like, are they talking to each other and like having real conversations with each other? Giving the member or the PNMs the information that they're going to need for those conversations. So really having them look inward of what they did in high school, what their career goals are, some of their hopes and dreams, even beyond things that they like to do. So we're not just talking about the 5 Bs, because that's the easy way to talk about it. But like, if you really have a good conversation toolkit, you will never even have to go towards the 5 Bs. Does that make sense? And then what to expect. So each day is going to be different. What does the room look, or what will the room look like? What will the conversations be, or what should they be if you're in an organization that really does care about you? What does the new member period look like going forward? So how long is it? What type of things would you learn? And really, what does membership look like?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I mean, we could have a whole conversation about rush talk and what happens at the University of Alabama. And it's really interesting to me because obviously I'm on TikTok. I see the videos as well, but you're right. It does seem very superficial. And I think that's one of the reasons why Gen Z is just kind of looking at formal recruitment saying, this just isn't, who I am as a person. And they don't really get to know me in the formal recruitment process, which is why I think there's a lot more women that are joining during informal recruitment, because you can actually be yourself as opposed to everybody putting on a show. And then me as a PNM, I know this is all artificial. nothing about this is real. I mean, the
Yeah.
glitter, the speedboats, I mean, come on, this isn't real sorority, you know? So I think as a PNM, you kind of instinctively know what's real and what's not, what's authentic and what's not. So I think looking at that formal recruitment process, I think is going to be really important going forward for sorority members because I do feel that there's something to be said for the informal process. But you know, the other thing I want to talk to you about was RFM. Now, I certainly know what TFM is with Total Frat Move, but what is RFM and how does that impact the recruitment process?
So RFM it's called Release Figure Methodology, so it's just an acronym. But it's from NPC. It's what guides the primary formal recruitment process, and it really does the matching of organizations. So anyone who knows anything about anything today, everything's done by algorithm. So RFM is basically just a computer algorithm. It was put together by two members of Alpha Phi. One was from MIT, and obviously they're smart people doing smart things. So when anyone says that women in sororities are dumb, that isn't a testament to these are very smart women. They can do big things.
Yeah.
But what release figure methodology or RFM really does is it takes all the information that these women put on their applications and it just helps to sort throughout the process for both the sororities and for the PNMs. So it goes through each day. It helps match based on ranking systems from top to bottom. Same thing for the sororities, like they will rank their PNMs, and basically it just kind of works it back and forth until it finds these groups are a pretty good match for each other. They've added things called clusters now, where certain groups and certain members tend to have the same likes, and both these women like these types of organizations, and these organizations like these types of PNMs. So that is even like a secondary layer for matching. And the ultimate goal of obviously is that everyone finds a house at the end of the week or finds a chapter, depending on your campus. But there's a 95% success rate, which is pretty high. So again, it's another thing when you watch Rush Talk, you keep seeing all these women who keep saying that they got dropped. Half of the drop process is because they either don't trust the system and how it works, or they don't understand the terminology between not matching and getting dropped. So to be dropped, like you actually have to like be completely pushed out of the system, which again is only 5%, which is not is all what we're seeing. What people are really saying is they didn't match and they didn't like their matches, or they didn't trust the process long enough to see if those were good matches for them.
Yeah.
So
That's really helpful. I think, you know, we do see those TikToks where somebody does get dropped and they don't think that it's a match. But, you know, I agree with you. I think you really have to trust the process. I think the system is designed to match you up with what should be a really good match, but you do have to give that time. You know, and so I think that's part of it is just trusting it. And so I guess, you know, some people might have in their mind this idea that they belong at Alpha Phi or whatever.
mhm.
And when they don't get that, like there's this like freak out process of like, how could I not get that? But the system is telling you you're actually a better match somewhere else. And so you have to trust it, right? I think that's the key. But formal recruitment just seems so stressful. I mean, you see the PNMs literally on TikTok bawling their eyes
Mhm.
out because they got dropped, or it's just like sensory overload, I guess is the best way to describe it, because it's just a lot. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of things coming at you. So, how do you prepare for rush, for formal rush, and in what order?
I mean, it's a great question again because it is stressful. It's stressful for the PNMs. It's stressful for the women who are doing the recruiting. It's not a natural process by any means. And the best way I can say for any PNM to kind of prepare is you really have to, as soon as you get your college application acceptance letter saying, you know, hey, I'm going to University of Michigan or whatever. Um, this you really have to decide: do I want to go through this process or do I not? like as soon as you get that acceptance letter, because the application process and for getting all the information that you might need is long. It can be 3 to 6 months. I hate when I see women who are stressed and trying to run through things. It's 95%, mostly because they didn't prepare and they just don't understand like how much preparing that really needs to take place. So for me, and what I would tell any of my clients is you need a timeline back. And so again, after that acceptance letter, first thing you need to do is go through and go to the Panhellenic website, list out all the organizations for that Panhellenic group. It might be 5, it might be 20 or whatever. You need to go through, list them all out, go to their websites, follow them on their social medias, and just start from there. The next thing you need to do is go through all the people in your life. So that could be your mom, grandma, teachers, coaches, mentors, anybody who's a woman, basically. And if you know they have a college degree, just ask them if they were in a sorority. It will open a conversation, yes or no, obviously. And you really need to try to start getting recommendation letters. I know that a lot of rec letters are kind of pushed back nowadays, but no matter, especially if you're in the SEC, there's still a requirement. I don't care who tells you that. The only group I know that doesn't take it is Phi Mu because they voted nationally, but every other 25 Panhellenic sororities will take a rec letter if there's one there. What a rec letter really is a introduction. It's not going to get you, any more than that, but it is a way for a organization to look at you in a stack of 1,000 different PNMs or 2,000 depending on your campus, and say that this person vouches for you. Basically, they say you have good moral character, and they think that you would be a good candidate for sorority membership. You need to try to get them for as many organizations as possible to kind of get that first step in the door. That's all it is. It's just a step in the door, but it is a good step in the door. Anyone who doesn't have a rec letter, they can still get in. I'm not saying that they can't. It's just if there's 2 people who look exactly the same on paper, they have similar GPAs, they're going to probably take the person who went the extra step to get a rec letter because they know that person takes initiative and will try a little bit harder. From there, you're going to start to have the applications themselves kind of open up. So prior to an application, you need to have, especially again in the SEC, not so much in the ACC or Big Ten, but you're going to need a social resume, which is completely different than an academic or a work resume. It is something that will have your headshot on it. It goes through all the different activities you did. It will include your GPA. That's a big part of it. But again, they're trying to catch what the PNM really is like. They're trying to get a sense of who she is as a person. Does she have leadership potential? Because she may not have a work history, but does she go that extra mile and try to volunteer? Like they want to see if that PNM is going to have a good mix of what they do as actives. So they're interested in philanthropy, they're interested in leadership, they're interested in social events. They want people who are well-rounded, and that's kind of, again, like a secondary first introduction. Some campuses, especially post-COVID, have all gone to videos now. So that's a whole nother situation that if you're watching, again, TikToks, people are stressed out. It's a 1 minute to 2 minute video, and they have to kind of lay it all out there who they are. And that first round for open house, that's how they get voted on, which can be very harsh. So making sure that there's good lighting and the sound is great. So it's a very different type of recruitment that we're used to, especially post-COVID. And that used to just be a house tour. So if any of your listeners are older, this is when they went to house and saw everything. But it's not like that anymore. And the first real interaction some of these P&Ms have with any of the sororities is philanthropy. So making sure that video is well prepared, but not fully scripted. So, bullet pointed, so you can kind of talk off the cuff about, what you're doing. Makes it much easier. Again, good lighting and good sound. And this is, again, where I like to talk to my clients about conversations, and I give them tips of things to think about. These are things that I think they could use in their videos, really self-reflective of what you're looking for in an organization, and how you can communicate that back out. So that when the sororities watch those videos, they're like, okay, this girl really has a good idea of what she wants. And, she's not just talking about like, I was on soccer for 4 years, and, like really kind of gives them a good chance to get to know her. Yeah. And then lastly, which I think is like, again, more superficial, is finally getting your outfits together and what you need in your bags. Like, to me, that's the very, very last step. Is it important? It still is important, but making sure that everything else is put together prior, and you have your deadlines ready, and you're ready to go, basically.
That's really helpful for sure. And that's obviously once you know which university you're going to, and then you can really start drilling down, following the sororities that are on that campus, on social media, et cetera, and then you start that process. But what can students do to make the best impression before they even get to campus? Are there things that they should be working on, let's say in high school?
I mean, yeah, if you want to be well-rounded, so and keep your GPAs up. Again, the first round is heavily GPA cut based. So they don't want anyone, or sororities don't want anyone who will be an academic risk. They have to have minimum GPAs both for their organizations and for their campuses. So making sure that your GPA is high, so that way you can kind of stand out with that. Though anyone that has, like a lower 2.0, who may have had enough to get into college, but just barely, those are the people who are going to get cut right away. Like, they aren't even going to think twice to cut you from that. So again, when you're going through and you're wondering why, these 4 or 5 top houses dropped you, well, it's probably because your GPA. From there, again, being well-rounded, so making sure that you can show that you have some sort of a volunteer background, or you did something for service, that if you could show that you were a leader in something, that's great. But even just being a member of a few clubs in high school kind of helps. Job experience, again, it varies, but if you have some, it definitely helps. Again, you can show that you have good time management and you can kind of keep things all together. From a sorority standpoint, also, is we talk about social media a lot, making sure we talk about keeping your social media kind of PC, or kind of clean. The TikToks where you're dancing and singing to songs that have lyrics that are a little questionable, those are the types of things that people are going to notice. Depending on your school and the sororities, if you in a bikini on Instagram is one thing, but like you at a kind of a racy area doing racy things, or you're sitting in your sweats and you look like a hot mess, those are things you probably don't want to make public when you're having sororities look at you. Again, certain things are superficial, but this is one of them. Sororities are basically looking for people who fit their brand, as weird as it sounds. Every house on your campus is going to have some sort of a brand of the type of women they like, the overall look that they like. And if you don't fit that mold, especially in the later rounds of recruitment, this is where, they might cut you because they don't think you'll fit in there. They want you to kind of look a certain way. So always, no matter what you're doing, if you're posting it and it's going to be public, make sure that it is, you look your best. So you don't have to be the skinniest, you don't have to be the prettiest or whatever, but always just make sure that you are the best version of yourself. So nice hair, nice makeup, your clothes are look nice, that kind of thing.
Got it. All right. Well, that's certainly very helpful for the high school students who are looking to go through formal recruitment in the future. So that's very, very helpful. The last piece too I wanted to talk to you about was retention. This word retention is something that every university, every fraternity and sorority is thinking about right now. So you are the director of alumni engagement for DPhi. In your opinion, how can we improve alumni engagement? And also, how can we improve our membership programs with our sisters to increase retention of students?
I mean, I could talk about this like for days, but the biggest things that I can see that would really help improve alumni engagement is starting from the new member process, honestly. We look to our national Panhellenic groups and their expectations of membership and what they think that an organization really is like is completely different than what we are putting through with National Panhellenic and IFC. So there's always like, oh, I could try it for a while and I could still drop out if I don't, or I'll drop if I just don't like it. That is never even a question for somebody who's joining a national Panhellenic organization. Like they know exactly what they want and they know it's going to be a full lifetime commitment. It's going to look different, throughout the process from when they're undergraduates to when they're alumni. But they know from that second that they sign that card and they go through that process is they're in it. So to get out is, much more difficult. They're going to have to contact their national and international councils. It's a whole thing. I think we just make it too easy for people to leave, and we don't set that expectation that it is a fully lifetime commitment. On the flip side of it, I don't think that many headquarters support alumni programs as well. So that way they can nurture our undergraduates both with their volunteers, with their alumni engagement programs when it comes to alumni groups in different cities and just out in the world. So there's just no clean transition for seniors, and they can't see themselves joining these groups because they don't have strong connections to them. Membership wise, I think that we need to look at our membership for our undergraduates more like phases. Like we have phases in our life, but the 4 years of college is a very quick phase, and every single year is a different phase. So phase one, if I was to make like an ideal undergraduate program, phase one would be our new members, loving on them, teaching them about the lifetime commitment and, nurturing that, which we already do to a point. We still kind of give them that doubt, I'll try it out and then I can leave if I don't like it. So taking that out of the equation, I think would help. Phase two is our sophomores. This is where we want to build leadership. We sometimes we like push it to junior year, but I really think you need to hone in on it when people are fresh, they're excited, they want to do more, and this is where we need to build the leadership as much as possible. Junior year, so phase three is for the member themselves, is a transition period of looking ahead. Some of them, if they're at a large school or if they are at like a smaller liberal arts college, a lot of them are doing a semester abroad. So they go inactive, they are taking internships, things like that. And they're starting to pull back from the sorority, and we need to meet them where they are and give them programs that are academic based to kind of help them connect with alumni who might be interested in similar programs as them or careers as them, but also being less harsh on them. So if they don't come to programs, why are we finding? If we need to have like core things, these are the 3 things you're going to need to go to this year. If you can make them, this is what we want you at. And just being open and flexible with them. And then phase 4 would be similar with the seniors. You need to be flexible with them as well. But we need to, at this point, to transition them to what does it look like as an alumni. So having strong alum groups in all the different areas, and this is where I think our headquarters can, beef up and put some money towards making these programs strong, is our seniors would have, one of the things that they have to do before they graduate is spend one day at some sort of an alumni event, whether it's in the town that they go to college or it's something, they go back for the holidays and they spend it with the local group there. So like it's part of their process. And again, you have the certain things that you tell them that they have to attend throughout the year with, 3 or 4 events, and anything else they come to is that's gravy. That's great. But really giving them a phase of their life and meeting them where they are.
I love that. That's really, really good. That's a really good comprehensive answer of what a new member program should look like. And you're absolutely right. I mean, this membership that we take on is really for life. And for some reason within Panhellenic and IFC, many students do feel like it's just something I did past tense in college as opposed to something that I'm doing for life. And I think, that's where NPHC, as an example, does a much better job, I think, of just lifetime membership. You see people who are in their 70s, 80s, 90s going to convention. And that's really the lifetime commitment that we're talking about. Whereas, I do see a lot of people on TikTok just saying, oh, well, I'm just going to try it out and see what I think. And if I don't like it, I'm going to just leave. This isn't something that's disposable, right? Not everything in life is disposable. Some things are for life. And I really do want to stress that to prospective new members that this is really a lifelong decision that you're making and a very serious oath that we took at the altar when we joined our
Mm-hmm.
organizations. And we hope that you're going to take it seriously as well. It's not the type of thing that, you just give up because things are difficult and there's work to be done. Of course, there's always work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But that ultimately is going to train you for the rest of your life. So I want you to keep that in mind, that this is truly, truly, truly building your leadership skills and your communication skills and your social skills and your leadership skills and all of the things that you're going to need when you graduate. So this has been very, very helpful. So I appreciate the conversation, Maureen. Now, I've been to Madison, Wisconsin many, many times to speak on a certain famous campus that happens to be there, and it's a beautiful area. I have to tell you. I mean, it is gorgeous. I mean, you want to see a stunning campus, go there, preferably in the warmer weather months because in the winter it can get a little bit cold. But we do love good food here at the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. So I'm wondering the next time I'm in Madison, where should I go for a great bite to eat?
So there's 2 different answers. I'm going to give you the you flew in for the weekend answer, but I'll
Mhm.
also give you my answer.
All
So
right.
if you flew in for the weekend, um, go to the square. You're going to go to the Old Fashioned. You're going to get a brandy Old Fashioned. You're going to get their cheese curds and their haddock platters. So a fish platter.
Yeah.
Um, Off of State Street is right next to campus. You're also going to go to Ian's Pizza and get their mac and cheese pizza. So those are quintessential Madison, Wisconsin, uh, well, Wisconsin foods in general. Now, for me, as a local here, I'm going to say you should probably hit up Thai basil. I love Thai food.
Mm.
So it's super spicy, and you don't get a lot of spice in Madison. Out of people just are not into spice foods. So I love it. I get it quite often. Um, So hit it up. It's very good.
I love Thai food as well. I'm really big into the spice, so I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'll meet you at Thai Basil every single day over Ian's Pizza because that's just what I like. But I see why Ian's Pizza would be such a popular destination spot too. So both good, but I agree with you. There's nothing that beats a really good spice. So that's good that you enjoy Thai food. You have very good taste. There's no question about that. All right. So if our student listeners, if they need sorority recruitment consulting, where can they go in order to connect with you?
They can hit me up on my website, sororitysuccessacademy.com. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, the exact same handles, Sorority Success Academy. You can email me, sororitysuccessacademy@gmail.com. Or, just hit me up any different way.
There you
But it's
go. You
pretty
can
easy. It's
also
the same all across the board.
Yeah, I love it. You can also find Maureen on LinkedIn as well, Maureen Anderson, or just, Sorority Success Academy is certainly the easy way to do it on social media. So, very, very good. I really, really appreciate the time that you've spent here. I know it's going to be incredibly beneficial for all the PNMs and even the sororities that are looking to make a bigger impact on their campus. So, thank you so much for spending some time with us here today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mike.
Of course. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Maureen, I want you to like it and I want you to share it with other sorority members that potentially can use her help as well as the PNMs. And we appreciate the time. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next time.